Hello everyone, I hope you're all well and trading safe in this volatility. I've got another trader interview today with Andreas, who's going to tell us about how he passed our funded trading test, trading FX on an hourly and 4-hourly timeframes. I hope you enjoy. Andreas, congratulations on passing your funded trading test evaluation. Obviously, we'll be setting up with your live trading account soon. Hopefully, there'll be lots of profit to come in the future. And thank you for taking the time for this interview as well. I think you're based all the way in lovely sunny Thailand at the moment, so welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much for welcoming me, and I'm so proud to be part of your team.
Thank you, appreciate that. What was the reason, briefly, you sort of chose us then? I'm always interested in why people have chosen to partner with us.
Well, I looked around in the funded trading programs of many companies and compared the conditions, and many companies provide with 30 days time limits to reach this 10% target, and I would think it puts too much pressure on new traders, and so I decided to discontinue to study phase programs, and finally found yours, which is so generous, which gives 6 months time, so almost unlimited time to reach the target. There's no reason to take any risky trades, so people can really focus on quality trades, don't have to push themselves. And on the other side, the profit sharing you offer at 80-20 is fantastic.
Yeah, I
So
appreciate that.
There's no other reason to look around. That's why I just decided to apply for the evaluation at your company, because there's nothing better outside.
Yeah, the profit sharing aspect. Sorry, to beg your pardon. The time limit is one that comes up time and time again. You know, when we looked around, I mean, I've mentioned it several
Exactly.
times on these interviews. Is people just didn't like the pressure of the time limit, and it's like, well, it's there to put you under pressure, to be in the back of the mind, to cause you to fail. And you know,
Exactly. Yes.
we were never gonna implement a time limit, if you like, in that respect. So how do you trade then? What markets do you trade? What sort of strategies do you trade?
Well, I started in trading in 2008 and struggled like many new people. So went through the babypips.com Forex Factory for all these programs and tried to find a way. It took around 5 to 6 years to find a way to get profitable. So I started with $1,000 account, increased to later on $5,000 account, and found out that I cannot trade well with indicators. So all indicators I tried, I felt I'm lagging behind. So I did uh, try to find a way to analyze the market purely based on price action. So didn't look at indicators, but only on market structure. And then I found out that for me it works well if I analyze the trend, the market structure on the 4-hour time frame, and then try to pinpoint an entry on M15, M5. So basically, I look for trends on the H4, try to find retracements, low time frame, and then trade back into the trend.
Which markets do you trade then?
It's basically the majors and minors Forex market. I don't trade crypto.
Okay, so you like your FX markets. That's interesting. Yeah, we get a
Yeah,
lot of people
FX
trading
markets.
index. So it's nice to have some FX traders as well. But yeah, I mean, I went for a similar journey. 2008 was a very difficult
Yeah.
learning curve, wasn't it, with the subprime mortgage
Yes,
crisis, the recession. I bet it prepared you
it
for
was
the
too.
prepared you for COVID a bit going through that. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think a lot of people do. They go through indicators and then they realise that
Mm,
indicators are basically just taking 4 data points from the price action, the
yeah.
open, high, low, and close in
Mm,
most circumstances. And
right.
once you watch price action, you can sort of get a feel for
Mm,
what indicators will be doing. And I'm exactly
yeah.
the same. You know, my charts are very stripped down, so it's whatever
Mm,
works for me. But I think I find a lot of traders do go through the same journey as they start off
mm,
with a lot of technical analysis, and then they tend to strip it away and
right.
keep things simple. So that tends to
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
So how long do you typically find yourself in trades for then?
Well, I have, it depends. Normally a trade can take from 1 hour to 12 hours normally.
Yeah, so a little bit more, a little bit. I mean, still sort of day trading, but not like scalping as
I would
well.
say
Yeah,
I'm not scalping. I would say it's day trading. Yes.
yeah, it's still day trading. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's interesting. Interesting mix. Getting a lot of people who are trading very short term, some big swing traders. You're sort of in between those times as
Yeah.
well, but it gives you that flexibility. I mean, if you get onto a huge runner, I guess you can hold it for even
Yeah.
longer, can't you? As well. So you've got that nimbleness and flexibility to do that. So how does your trading day work then? I mean, you're 7 hours ahead of London, I believe. So what sessions do you trade? What pairs do you trade?
Normally, I also have a daytime job, so I do trade on the side, or the trade on the side so far. So normally I start in Thai time at 8 o'clock. That is the market opening of Australia. So I can start with the Asian session,
Okay.
observe, but I mainly trade the European market, London market, and the US. So I try to avoid the Asian market because there are too many fake outs and there's no clear direction established at the time, so I just observe the early Asian hour times and make a plan what could be potential setups for the later sessions.
Yeah, because of your time zone, it helps you have your job and then trade the sort of European and US sessions as well. Yeah, so I take it you prefer all the USD based currency pairs then, euro dollar, cable, things like that. Yeah, it depends. I mean, it depends. It depends exactly what pairs that work for you. But I prefer the major pairs of
Yeah.
USD based ones whenever I do dip into forex, although I do indices more than anything else. So tell me about your best trading experience.
Well, the best trading experience was definitely passing the evaluation
Okay,
because
well
it's
that's
a
good to hear.
huge difference. I traded on my, with my own private money. I think the highest amount was around $5,000. So it's a different feeling if you have $5,000 on stage or if you trade a big $100,000 account. So the psychology should not matter, but it does. So I was also a little bit cautious, hesitating, but then later on I found trades and I just scaled into the trades and then made it in a very short time. But the feeling definitely is it's very different than trading a small account.
Yeah,
That's
I
why
mean,
I
the
also,
psychology is massive, isn't it?
yeah, that's why I also wanted to tell you, Simon, when I start live next week, my target for first month is to be only 1%. I don't want to take big sizes in the beginning. I just want to get used to it gradually because it's really a huge account for me, and so I will trade with a very small size, targeting the first month only 1% and then increase over time.
Yeah, I mean
I hope
that
it's
Yeah, sorry. I mean that's one of the reasons we keep our rules exactly the same for our live account as evaluation. So you can take your time if the market conditions aren't right or something comes up in
yeah,
life, or then you can just take a break, and that's the most important thing
exactly.
for traders. And particularly at the
Yeah,
moment when the markets are so volatile with the awful situation in Ukraine, sometimes I mean I've sat out twice this week, and it's very rare for me not to take a trade during a
yeah,
session, but there's some times where the market's been so volatile and it's gapped sort of between big levels. It's like, well, there's nothing for me to do. I don't. Whereas you
yeah.
get often, not to talk about other
Mm,
firms, but they're like you must take a trade every 4 days and things like that. And
yeah.
it's only designed for one thing. Whereas we're not interested in that. We're just interested in traders trading to the best of their ability. So yeah, whatever plan works for you, we're happy to help and support. I'm going to have to ask you the opposite question as well, which I'm sure you've had one or two, as every successful trader has. What's your worst trading experience?
Well, the worst trading experience was when I lost three accounts in
Okay.
the beginning. I think the first 3 or 4 years I started with a small amount of accounts and I lost three accounts because of typical beginner mistakes. So, like not setting a stop loss, scaling out, moving stop loss, trading too big, trying to get back, trying to get a revanche of the market. So all these typical beginner mistakes that was a really frustrating time and I always was close to giving up because I felt it too stressful and too frustrating and that period was around 3 to 4 years and then I slowly made it to a break even and then became profitable. But losing accounts is really a bad experience.
It is, and I think everyone's
Yeah,
been there. You get that margin call, don't you? I mean, I don't know which live brokers you've
that's it.
used, but leverage used to be a lot higher in Europe. It's a bit more restricted now, so it's very easy to have a small account, trade ridiculous size, and then get that margin call email, and have your have your trade positions closed out.
Yeah,
But every successful trader goes through that, and you get to that sort of divergence point where it's either I'm going to carry on being a loser and give up, or I'm going to learn how to do things correctly and win. And Mark, I've mentioned this before, I think, on one of these videos, but Mark Douglas, a trading psychologist, he said that
yeah,
everyone he worked with who was successful, they'd lost one or more fortunes. Fortunes being relative to the
yeah,
individual, and it's sort of you
right.
have to know what that feels like in order to learn not to do it. If
Yeah,
you like a lot of things
yeah,
in life, I guess you learn not what
yeah,
to not what to do in order to learn what to do, and that's one of those things, isn't it? Most people unfortunately give up, and it becomes
yeah,
too stressful. Whereas people like ourselves, dare I say, we dig in and figure it
yeah,
out what to actually do in that
exactly.
respect.
Right.
So, in terms of passing funded trading tests, then, because that's what a lot of people
Yeah.
watching this are going to be interested in doing, what are your top 3 tips for doing that?
First, first top three tips would be to always use a stop loss,
Yep.
because if you trade whatever session, there's always a chance that market turn around, even if it looks, if everything is aligned perfectly up, there's always a chance. And if you trade with a high position, then you will lose in one short moment what you built up in for a pretty long time, so it's not worth. Better is to take a loss, walk away, and come back the next day. Second advice I would give, I would advise just to look at the market without indicator, try to study, try to read the market like a book, because it has a language, and once you see the language in front of you, then you can really go with the flow of the market. And the other advice would be to just take your time, because I know it's a really let's say pressure we may be putting ourselves. The company doesn't put pressure because they allow us basically unlimited time, but we want to achieve the goal. We want to achieve it in a very short time, and that is the mistake people do, because they push themselves to limits, try to take another trade, and forget the time we have. And also what helped me personally is to, in MT4, to not look at the balance, because once the trade is on, you see the numbers running up, running down, so just to avoid some psychological hacks, I did not show the balance. So I had my stop loss, my take profit, and didn't look at any number at all. That helps also to stay calm during the trade, or to avoid to interfere with the trade.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, stop loss is definitely one that I would always recommend saying to people. I mean, why I always think of people, if they don't put a stop loss is they don't think they're going to lose. It's like, well, I don't think I'm going to lose, so I don't need a stop loss. I always think that's sort of part of the reasoning as well. I agree. Keeping things simple is certainly interesting, or at least I say to people, if I remember coaching or mentoring, justify why everything's on the chart. Why is that there? Why is that there? If it's not
Yeah,
helping your decision making, either primarily or secondary, then get rid of it. So that's always a
yeah,
useful exercises. And
yeah,
yeah, I totally agree. The patience is the most important thing. Take your time. I think,
yeah,
with particularly in the volatility at the moment, people get that fear of
of
missing
course.
out. They think, oh, I'm going to be able to make so much money. I'm scared I'm not going to be able to. And it's like, we can also lose lots of money. The market's always going to be there, and for people who've been trading as long as you or I, it's easy. We're like, well, we know the market's going to be there
Yeah,
tomorrow, so we don't need to put ourselves under pressure. But for new
of
traders, I
course.
think they do that. I think they have to do it all
Yeah,
straight away. We get that question a lot. Can I pass in a day? It's like,
yeah,
you can, but I'd rather you didn't. I'd rather you take your time and demonstrate that you can trade a bit more professionally before I give you money. But that's the
yeah.
way it goes sometimes. But yeah, thanks very much for taking this interview, Andreas, and looking forward to giving you a live account. Hopefully, be able to pay you out lots of profit in the future and have a very long and successful relationship together.
Thank you very much, Simon, for accepting me into your team. I'm so proud to be. It's like a dream is coming true, because I always dreamed about it,
hopefully,
but never had
hopefully we'll be
the
able, hopefully we'll be able to pay you
courage
out
to go
lots of
for it.
money. You take care anyway, and have a great weekend.
Thank you so much, Simon.
Bye
I'm
bye.
happy to be part of it.
So thank you for watching. Please subscribe, join our Discord, and here's another video for you.